Destiny Awaits, the podcast where you discover how to step into your identity. I'm your host, Andrea John, and I'm thrilled to embark on this journey of discovery with you. Each episode will explore profound insights and practical wisdoms drawn from stories, scriptures, and personal experiences. From unlocking your purpose to navigating the path toward your ideal vision, we'll uncover the threads that weave together autonomy, identity, purpose, and vision into the tapestry of your destiny. Together, we'll explore the nature of God and the essence of who you are, unveiling your destiny and igniting the spark of transformation. Whether you're seeking clarity, inspiration, or a roadmap to fulfill your calling, Destiny Awaits is your guide to living a life of purpose, passion, and profound impact. Join me as we embark on this empowering journey. Your destiny awaits, and it's time to unveil its magnificence. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Destiny Awaits. We have another amazing guest today, Veronica, and she's going to share with us her journey of finding her personal statement. She was one of the attendees at the last ladies retreat, so we're going to hear a little bit about her story and her journey throughout that weekend and what she's doing with her purpose statement. So to start off, welcome, Veronica. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you start off by just sharing a little bit about yourself, as much or as little as you want to share with everyone?
Okay, well, I'm the mother of three pretty much grown children. They're all college age or older, and my daughter still lives with me, but we're at that point in life where we have some freedom and stuff. So my background was actually in nursing many, many years ago, and came to Jacksonville through that as a traveling nurse. And then I've been an entrepreneur, business owner, and real estate investor and real estate agents, that sort of thing. My passion is mentoring women and speaking into the lives of women. And God has just given me such beautiful women in my life. So it's a little bit about me.
Yes, awesome. Yes, same for me. Sometimes I look at the women I'm surrounded with and feel so blessed because for many years, I did not have a good opinion of women, to be honest. I didn't have a good opinion of men either, just humans in general.
People, yeah, right.
But growing up, like women's only events and things like that was always used to bash husbands and men.
Yeah.
And I was never an advocate for it. And I remember when we started Jesus House, it was something that I even said, like, I don't like separating men and women. And that came from a place of hurt and trauma because I saw what people used it for. And now here I am hosting women only events and loving it.
Setting the tone.
Yes. And it's because I feel like women have been, especially within the church, there is still some misogyny and a misunderstanding of the role of women within the kingdom of God. And that's part of my purpose. So my purpose is to passionately empower others to find and live their purpose so that they can live fulfilled lives and live their best lives. That's my purpose.
I love it.
And, it's for both men and women, but women have a special place in my heart. I have two daughters, and everything I've done to try and crack that glass ceiling has been for them, so they have, my ceiling is their floor and Amen. They can keep going. I know you have a daughter too, so that's very important. We had the women's retreat. And while we were there, the big topic was purpose, really finding what we need to step into our destiny. And leading up to that, obviously, I share on social media and I have emails that I send out for people to who have registered. So just curious, what was your expectation for the retreat? Like, what were you looking for?
So I really didn't. I don't know that I necessarily went there with a clear expectation, but because I know you and I've experienced a retreat in the past or whatever, I knew it would be wonderful. I knew that that I would grow. And the funny thing is, to be honest, is I was in a place in my life where I was resisting. I was resisting that sort of thing, or committing to a weekend like that. I don't know. I was in a place where I didn't feel like I had much to offer. I was struggling. So I think I was probably the last, or at least one of the last people to commit. I'm like a commitment phobe. I'm so funny. In the last few minutes, I think almost like very last minute, I was like, yes, I'm doing it. And I knew I kept putting it, and you were so good about your communication leading up to it, and building it up, but also reminding us and just encouraging us. And I'm so glad you did, because, and you're so gracious, like you're like just accommodating, even though I was so last minute. It was just amazing. I don't know that that really answered the question, but sometimes I think it's to be open with your
Yes.
expectation, right?
Yep. No,
And
I agree. I don't always go into something with a refined, this is what I want out of it. I just kind of go expecting
expecting, yes.
whatever God wants,
Being
expecting.
open.
Yeah.
Being open.
It's hard because I'm not a marketer and I kind of hate the whole sales thing, but it's essential to get the message out. So it's been a struggle for me to post and things like that, but I've been getting training. And I know you've gone through training just because of your real estate, what you do with real estate. It's just not innately in me. I feel
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah, definitely not innate in me either. And I'm not of that generation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's still new to me in a sense,
Yeah.
right? But you wouldn't know that you're not a marketer, because you do a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. Well, I
But
try to be
I don't look at
authentic.
it as marketing either, though. I just look at it as, there's my friend,
Sure.
bringing a good word, bringing a positive, something into my life. Like a lot,
Good.
like sometimes we doom scroll or whatever, we're scrolling, and I'm like, and I always want, not that I always do, because I'm just not good at it, but if I want, I always know that if I click on you, there's a nugget, there's something good, there's something encouraging, there's something real, and I love that.
Oh, thank you. That's very good because that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Like honestly. So it's about kind of sharing what I've learned, and of everything that I post, it's not because I know better, it's because I learned, and sometimes the hard way. Right. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to spare everybody the heartache and the difficulties that I've had, or sometimes just inspire hope. Like you may be going through some not nice stuff, like I've gone through, not, and just hang on a little bit, just,
Yes.
kind of look at Jesus. So it was so good to have you there, and Rachel was there as well. So it was awesome because I love you guys so much. And we started off with the tea party.
Yes.
We went on to talking about, the introduction on Friday was about destiny, kind of defining destiny. What do I mean as destiny, with the foundation of identity? What is identity? How I see identity? How do we figure out who we are? My opinion is that you can only learn who you are when you know who God is, because we're all made in the image and likeness of God. And then stepping into Saturday morning, that's how we started our day. Let's talk about who God is. And in talking about who God is, hopefully we find ourselves in there. So we talked about things like God is love, God is creator, God is pure and holy, and all these things. Is there anything from the morning sessions that really stood out to you, like an aha moment that you had that set you up for the whole purpose conversation?
It's hard for me to remember like which was what, but I had a lot of aha moments, and I took a lot of notes, and I'm probably not the best note taker, but I was trying to look back through some of them today, like just to refresh me. But well, for one thing, I think going back to your previous question too, is like, what was my expectation? Because it was like setting our destiny, or what was the
Destiny
name?
awaits. Yeah.
Destiny awaits. So a little bit, I'm like, oh my gosh, well, I don't even know what the heck I'm doing, who I am, what I want to be. Like, this is the, there's no way we can do this in one weekend. Like, I was just like, I was feeling a little overwhelmed and thinking, I'm thinking I got to come out of there with a business plan or something, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't know, or something, right? And what I loved was it just spoke to me like that our destiny is to be what God created us to be, to align with Him, to be a co-creator with Him in our life, to be just to walk in what God has for us as a unique individual.
Mm-hmm.
And that by focusing more on that and focusing more who God created us to be, the purpose comes through that.
Right.
I don't know if I'm saying it the best, and I don't want
You
to,
are.
but
That's
I
perfect.
felt like you made it easy, a very I guess it was very deep. I mean, it was very, like, we were soul searching and digging, you know, like, and we were being raw and real, but it just spoke such truth for me. And I think sometimes we have to remember that, you know, we look at everybody else in this day and age of comparing and, you know, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, your poison, you know, whatever, just people in your life, but to realize God made each of us so unique and individual. And we're so used to looking at what their gift is and what their purpose is
Yes.
and what their blessings are. And God's like, but I have a gift right here. Like, it has your name on it. Like open your gift. But we're like, but no, I'm looking at theirs and I'm looking at theirs. And he's like, right here is your gift. Just open it. You know, and I feel like you helped us to unwrap a little bit of that and kind of to see, you know, God's purpose for our life, for me. You
Yes.
know?
And the
Yeah.
beautiful thing that I love about scripture and just God in general is that in a room filled with, I think we had about 18 people altogether, when you share truth like that, everyone is receiving what they need, right? And that's all I have to lean on when I do retreats or teach or anything like that, because with the type of topic that we had, humanly speaking, it's impossible to help you, right? In our minds, help you find your purpose and help Rachel find her purpose and help Anna find her purpose without sitting there and talking to you individually.
Right.
But because of the way God has designed humanity and the world in general, it actually is possible. You just have to share the truth. And then each person has to sit there with God a little bit
Mm.
and ask God the questions, and sometimes ask themselves the question. A lot of times we are afraid to ask ourselves the question because we're worried, well, I don't want to do what I want to do. I want to do what God wants to do. But God has put that in you, and
Right.
it's going to be natural. And that's why when we do talk about purpose and we go on to the afternoon session, we use stories to be able to identify what that purpose is. And what we did and the method that I used was to pair people up and have each person share. We did two stories, separately, where you share your story and the person listening obviously is listening, maybe asking questions and writing notes for you in your notebook. And we use the power of storytelling to be able to highlight what your purpose has been your entire life, because I believe everyone innately lives and knows their purpose. There's just a lot of self-doubt, and as you mentioned, comparison. Social
Mm.
media is great. I love social media, but what it does do is foster an environment of comparison.
Mm.
So what did you feel about the method of storytelling? Did you find it beneficial to be able to kind of just randomly talk about something, that a meaningful moment you had?
I I thought it was really good. I thought so it was interesting, and I love the fact that we got paired up with somebody we knew nothing about. We didn't know them. You know, I went there with Rachel, I've been friends with 25 years, whatever, however many years. So that was really cool to be able to meet with somebody who we don't know them, they don't know us. It made it easy. Like, we were just able to bring up, like you said, a story, something from our past, something that maybe we hadn't even thought about in a long time or whatever. But I felt like so naturally the things that were important to us, or the things that brought us joy or excitement or fear, or whatever the emotions are around that, the other person could receive and perceive that, and they were kind of jotting down notes. And then when they reflected back to us what they saw in us, it helped us to weed through it a little bit from an outside perspective. Like sometimes you're that whole saying, you're you can't see the forest from the trees or whatever. So like it kind of gave that outside perspective looking back in, and like you're like, yeah. And it was amazing to me how accurate they were able to get just from a couple stories, right? And then it just so happened that one of the girls that I was paired up with is still in my life today. And I haven't even gotten to share that with you, but anyway, so we've become friends, and we're actually doing a book study together.
Oh, that's
So,
nice. I love that.
it's just so cool, right? Like, and we continue to encourage each other. And it was also funny for me and for her that now there were women of every walk of life and every phase of life. I mean,
Yes.
we had more than one woman that had lost a child.
Yeah.
Like so many things, like you can't, going through cancer, going through like real life, real stuff, like
Mhm.
just stuff, right? And it was it was interesting to me that the girl that one of the ones that I connected with, we had like when she told her stories, I was like, oh my gosh, it would be I could have almost told the same story. Like our passion, both of us have a passion for mentoring women, and speaking into women's lives and stuff like that. So it was just super cool. I'm sure that happened for a divine reason, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of relying on Holy Spirit. I am one where I'm a planner, as
Yes.
as you saw, right? I'm a planner. I plan A, B, C, D, and E just in case something goes wrong, but I also allow Holy Spirit to move, and I just kind of trust. Like I've learned to trust what God has given me because I've seen him at work in it all. And the stories that we tell, just for folks who are listening, are 2 story prompts. And I gave them story prompts to help. And the story prompts really are around telling a story where at some point in your life you felt fulfilled, excited, like it was just one of the best days of your life, kind of, and really speaking to that. So when you share that kind of story, the person who's listening is going to hear your tone, your inflection, what gets you excited, when does your voice change, what are the words that you're using, what are the actions and impacts, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But the purpose that we told these stories is to really draw the gold from them and to help the person who told the story to identify what about that story was what got you so excited? What about that story helped you feel fulfilled? And when you find those things, like when the person who was hearing your story relate it back to you, I would guess and bet that throughout your life, every time you've done those things, it has led you to feel very content and fulfilled in life.
Absolutely.
And one of the reasons that I'm very passionate about this, it's something I learned about really through work. I went through extensive training on purpose. I have a full-time job, but I also do ministry. I also have a family. I also, right? Like many women. But the reason that I'm able to do a lot of it now with a full heart, with gratitude, and without overwhelm is because I've identified my purpose and I see my purpose within it. And it's allowed me to have this filter for decision making. And that's one of the things that's so beautiful about the purpose statement for me is that it's a short statement, but it helps me see what gives me a sense of fulfillment. And you can use this purpose statement as a filter of decision making. what aligns with my purpose and what doesn't align with my purpose. And sometimes we're saying yes to things that don't align with our purpose because we're givers, because we're people pleasers, because we are kind-hearted and we want to do what's good. But the reality is that we can only be our best when we're fulfilling our purpose. So having a purpose statement isn't just about developing a statement. And, a lot of times we go to these sessions and we get something great out of it. And then we go back to life and we're just overwhelmed 3 or 4 days later after this amazing weekend. What I wanted to do was give something to everyone that they could walk away with a reminder of, this is what motivates me. This is what helps me feel fulfilled, so that you could wake up every morning and feel excited about life instead of counting down the days till you're no longer here.
Right.
Because I feel like that's how some people are.
Right.
So we told these stories, and then the listener was jotting it down. And it was my first time doing this, so it was a little awkward, and I did not do the best job at explaining it. But we got to the point where we talked about impacts and actions, right? And taking the notes that the listener wrote down and organizing the information so that we had, what are the actions that you took in those stories versus what's the impact? Because the reality is, our purpose statement for everyone always will become about someone else. It's something I did for someone else. And it's that someone else part that is a fulfilling part. It's not just about the self-seeking and doing something that feels good. It felt good because I gave. And is that not what Jesus did? Jesus just gave. So how did you find, when we did do the organization, I think at some point, once I figured out how to best teach it, I said, okay, talk to your partner and help each other organize the information. Did that help you both see the difference between the actions and the impacts and why you did what you were doing?
Oh yeah. The exercise was really good. And you helped us it's kind of like we had a funnel, like we started up here and then we kind of narrowed it down and we brought it to more concise, and the way that you did it, I felt like it was really helpful. And some people got it a little quicker than others. And then those people would come like, okay, let me help you guys out. Let me, and and I think part of it was excitement, because we were getting it and we're like, okay, but how do I write this? And, whatever. But for sure, it was great. Honestly, I was blown away. I definitely walked away from that understanding more about myself. And I think that's been part of my journey. God's been doing some amazing things and showing me, giving me. So that was part of the pieces that I needed, I think, to move forward into the vision that God is giving me now of how to walk that out. And I can't wait to share all of that with you, but that might be a whole nother thing. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. So really, it was really amazing. Really amazing.
Cool. So I think you were one of the people that I helped a little bit with word finessing. Were you one of the ones that I helped?
I think so. Yeah. I know you and Rachel, and then Shannon, we kind of worked together on hers and mine. I think, yeah. So I think maybe you helped Shannon a little more and then mine kind of came.
Yes, because you were hearing the kind of the conversation. So let me ask you, and I've not asked anyone this yet, and you can be very candid.
Okay.
Did you find it helpful to have someone to talk through it with you in terms of, okay, now you have the notes and we organize the information. How do we make it into a statement that is, one, easy to remember? Because this is a thing that I want everyone to know too. When we create our personal purpose statement, there's different methods and you're going to hear people teach it in different ways. I am one of those people who thinks, let's make this short and concise so that you can, one, memorize it, wake up every morning, and you can tell it to yourself until it becomes who you are. And then almost have like an elevator speech. And when you meet someone for the first time, you can be like, hey, my name is Andrea, and I just passionately love to empower others to find and live their purpose because I want them to live their best life. And it kind of tells people the why behind why you do what you do. So did you find it helpful to have a facilitator there to help walk, or do you think it's possible to have someone go through that process by themselves?
I think it was very helpful to do it live like that, to have people, like, because we were kind of brainstorming the words and the thought, and I feel like that was really, really helpful. Could you do it? I think you probably could do it by yourself, maybe if you had enough questions that inspired the thoughts, right? If you
Okay.
like the way, because you do have a great way, like where you're drilling down and
Mm-hmm.
you keep asking that question, the layers to get to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the way that we did it, which was so nice, is that we were able to do that live with input and brainstorming kind of together. In other words, if I was helping Shannon, I was brainstorming based on what I had learned about her and what she had shared with me. So it was
Yes.
still all about her and developing her path, her statement, her purpose statement. For me, it was like, okay, now we're going to focus on you and what we know about you and what you share, whatever. So that I definitely found it helpful. And for me, I love people and I love that experience and stuff like that. So I do think you could do it both ways, but I love the way that we did it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's my struggle because I learned it in that fashion, the storytelling telling fashion. And it's in the telling of the story and someone else listening. That's why I paired everyone who didn't know each other. I tried my best to do that so that the authenticity could come up, right? But I also want everyone to have access to this. So it's been something I've been thinking about. How can I either write a book or do something, or maybe have a course where someone can do this without another person? I do believe it's more effective in fellowship that way. I just think that's the way we're supposed to live life.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, in fellowship, getting feedback from one another. The only time God said in creation it wasn't good was when man was alone.
So true.
So, we need to be together. Have you updated or finessed your purpose statement since that day, or no, you've just kind of stuck with what you had that day?
Well, I went back. I know what it is. Like, if you ask me what my purpose statement, I could tell you, but I
Yes,
might say it
do.
a little different each time. I don't know that I have it so I looked at
Memorize
it
it,
again
yes.
today to see what did I write. And then I kind of worked it through again, like just to, and I could read it to you,
Yes,
or I
please
could
do.
tell you, but I could read it to you. I put it over here so I can keep.
Yes.
And basically, my purpose is to continue to seek God so that I can serve and inspire others to be empowered and become everything that God has created them to be.
Awesome.
So
And that's the whole point of your mentoring.
it is. It is. And in order to do that, I have to sit with him.
Yeah.
I have to work on me continually. We're never going to get there, wherever there
Yes.
is, right? Until the day he takes us home and perfects us or
Ain't that
whatever.
the truth?
But so we want to continually be seeking, sitting at his feet, walking it out so that we, are filling up so we have something to give. It's so funny because I'm like, okay, well, what does that look like? What is that? And I'll tell you, I literally went back on my phone today. I was listening to, and I didn't even know it went back that far. The voice recordings of, like, I had received a couple prophetic words or whatever in my life, and I literally I was trying to find one because there's a particular word that I felt like had been spoken over me at some point, and now I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm walking it out, like I'm co-creating this with the Lord. Yeah.
Yay.
And so I wanted to find that one, and I didn't find that one, but I clicked on something from 2016. How many years ago is that? 2016.
We're 8 years.
it all plays in, like God was just showing me, like what you said earlier, that you believe it's always been our purpose. And I can tell you, I can look back to my childhood. I can look back to who I am, to the core of who I am. But even knowing that, I feel like God has tried to call me out many times in my life, and probably due to fear, probably due to feeling not enough, like, who am I? All those things that the evil one comes to kill, steal, and destroy, anything got right, or whatever, or maybe just disobedience. I don't know. But, or that, yes, I heard the calling, I could feel the call, but I couldn't put it together. I didn't understand, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And I'm in a part of my life now where, I have a supportive husband who's like, girl, I'm affording you, like, I was there for him when he was an entrepreneur and crunching out code and doing the things. And we have switched off in our family and our life, where one of us was a breadwinner and one of us was chasing after the dream or whatever. And he's saying, I'm giving it back to you. Do whatever it is, right? Part of this, I just feel like the timing of this event, this weekend, this message, this purpose, all plays into what God is calling me and showing me what to do in my life. And I'm really terrified and excited.
The best place to be, Veronica. Best place to be.
So yeah, I can share with you a little bit about what that is
Yes, absolutely.
so I feel like you're a part, well, I know you're a part of it, but basically, to create a platform, probably a video platform, which is so funny, which is why when you ask me, well, do you want to be on the podcast or the video? I'm like, okay, Veronica, get out of your comfort zone. You can get on video. You're not going to die. I feel like it. No, I'm just kidding. But to be obedient, it basically is to create a platform where ordinary women can tell their extraordinary stories.
Oh, I love it.
And I believe that through that they will not only be speaking life and triumph and victory into their own life, but that that other people that need to hear these stories are going to receive it, and it's going to bless them. And I feel like so much bigger than me. And then I'm simply a cog in the wheel. So here comes the devil going, well, who are you? Who's going to listen to you? And I'm like, shh, shh, shh. Like, I am going to just be obedient because I'm not 20 anymore. I am at the point of life where this is either going to go to my grave. I'm not that old, but I'm just saying it's either going to, you're either going to bury this and, in my opinion, be disobedient to what God's calling me, or I'm going to walk this out and say to the Lord, okay, I'm going to be obedient because I know nothing about editing, nothing about recording, nothing about interviewing, nothing about any of this. And it's so far out of my comfort zone. But if I be obedient, oh, by the way, and when I say that to the Lord, you know what he says to me? Perfect. That's exactly where I want you. I don't want you to think that it's you. I don't want you to think that you have what it takes to do this, because you don't, but I do. And I'm going to surround you with beautiful, incredible, intelligent women who have gone before you, and they're going to walk you through it, and they're going to show you how to do it. And it's going to be okay. And, because I feel like and here's the craziest thing. From the time that I met with you and did this weekend, which I was not I was nowhere near where I am today when you see me speak about this, and you hopefully feel the excitement and the reality of it. But God has not only given me the vision now, he has put women in my path. I mean, literally unbelievable happenstance, whatever you want to say, like that put these women in my life. Within the first meeting, I knew this is one of the women. This is one of the
amazing
women. I mean, it has been amazing. And I'm talking from young women of like 18 is the youngest one. Maybe there's legal reasons for that. I don't know, but 18 being the youngest one, to, and like one of the girls, I can't wait for her to share her story, but I was terrified even to ask her because she's so shy,
Uh-huh.
painfully shy. But I'm like, but if you could tell your story, man, it would empower and impact so many people. But what I also see is, in some aspects, like here's the victory, right? And here's
Uh-huh.
the valley. Like we're down here in the valley, like we think we are or whatever. But it's like we are striving to get there.
Right.
The journey is like this,
Oh,
you know.
yes. Ups and downs.
Like so we're always either going, you've heard this before, I'm sure, like going into a valley, in the valley, or coming out of the valley or whatever.
Mhm.
But it's like we can still, and I've witnessed you do this. Honestly, it's because of women like you, that I've watched them continue to keep their eyes on the Lord, even in the valley, that
Mhm.
they were able somehow through their faith, their roots in the Lord, to be able to glorify him even from the valley, from the
Mhm.
depths, right? And I'd always look at these women like yourself and I'd be like, I want to be that. Like I like,
But you
and-
are. You
well,
just don't
and
see it
God
in
finally
yourself.
showed me that. And he said, and even I will say, I'm going through some trials now, and some stories are ready to be shared, and some stories are not. And
Yeah.
that particular story is not ready to be shared. And I know this, right? Like there's sometimes we have to protect other people and things like
Yeah.
that. Like some stories just aren't meant, or it's not the time, right?
Yes.
And that's okay. But I am not going to allow that depression, that oppression,
Mhm.
and that, valley to keep me from walking this thing out. Like I feel God has been calling me to this, and I mean, Andrea, probably 20 or more, maybe my whole life, but
Yeah.
definitely I feel like, man, am I slow? Because I feel I should have had this years ago. But
I
for
mean,
some
since I
reason,
met you, you've been talking about mentoring women and
yes.
your desire to do that.
Yeah.
And I'll share something that you may be surprised about, maybe some people are surprised about, but even with everything that I do, that little nagging voice of who do you think you are? Who are you? You're just a Joe Schmo. Nobody's going to listen to you. Like I deal with that almost every single day. But to be honest, not that I don't want to say entertain the voice, but I think it helps keep me humble.
Yeah. It's part of the cross that we pick up and bear every day.
Yep.
It's part of what brings us back to his feet. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of what, and
The
I think
dependency.
yes, yes. And it's beautiful. It's
Yep.
absolutely beautiful. But I always thought, I felt, well, when I get my act together, when I feel strong enough, when this, when that, when whatever. And it's like, no, like that, stop waiting, just go and he will meet you there. Step in the water before it parts type of thing, put your toe in the water.
It's
Uh,
the faith aspect, just
so
trusting once you take that for like I use the valley and mountain a lot as a metaphor as well. And it's okay, the mountain looks so far away, so difficult to get there. Oh man, that journey just looks like it's going to be crazy. But you just got to take that first step. And every time you take another step, you're one step closer. And before you know it, you're going to look and be like, that wasn't so intimidating. Or you're going to look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come, or wow, we're almost there. But you know what happens when you reach the mountaintop, Veronica? You're going to have to come down and you're going to have to go conquer that next one.
mm,
And coming down that mountain's a little easy, feels real good, but then you're hitting another valley. And the
mm,
lessons are in that valley. When you read even Psalm 23, and I've been in a valley in Hawaii, and I have to say that it's prettier than mountaintop. You have the view of the mountaintop, the glory of the mountaintop. You literally feel on top of the world at the mountaintop. but the beauty, the refreshing, the streams are in the valley.
Amen.
And when I got diagnosed with cancer in August, I knew this valley I'm in and that I've been in, I'm pitching my tent. I'm staying right here because I'm in no condition to be going anywhere right now.
Wow.
And I just stayed there. And it wasn't always easy, but I had God with me.
Amen.
And I think Psalm 91 was one I live by, but Psalm 23 is a beautiful depiction of what it looks like because he is with you in that place. He's with you on the mountaintop, but he's with you in the valley too. In the valley, it just gets so dark. Sometimes the darkness tries to lie to you and tell you it's not worth it. Where is God? See, you're meant for this. And you have to be with God. You have to commune with God because he's going to be speaking the truth to you. And he's going to remind you, no, you're meant glory to glory. That's where you're meant to go. You know, you're meant to be the light in the darkness.
Amen.
You know, you have it in you, not because you are the source, but because you have the source.
Amen.
And you carry it. It's not always easy. You know this.
Right. Right.
Sometimes you're just like, can we, sometimes you feel like you're unplugged from the source.
Yeah, it was funny. So Shanna was the one that I was teamed up with, and then she's been coming over and we've been enjoying each other's company and going through.
I love that because she is a treasure. Do
She
you
is.
know, really quick, let me just share this with you. She came to my Bible study. We had online Bible study for like almost a year. I call this girl Shauna for a year, okay? For a year before she told me, and I forgot what happened that she told me, but she told me it was Shanna. And I was like, girlfriend, are you serious?
Yeah.
You let me this entire time call you the wrong thing. So then I told her, I was like, you can't let people do that to you, girl. You got to like stand up for yourself. And you need
Right.
to say,
I'm sure
that
I've
is
said
not
her
my
name.
name.
She is a treasure and just so beautiful, but we've been walking through Dr. Henry Cloud's Changes That Heal.
Yes.
Beautiful book. Really aligns a lot with this too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, I don't even know what I was going to say about that, but lost my train of thought. I love it. Just keeping it real here, folks.
It happens all the time. I've always like, sometimes I have technical difficulties. I'm like, obviously you could tell I have no staff. I do this all by myself.
So you were talking, being in the valley and then, the way he comes to lie to you and stuff like that. I was sharing with her because I have a giant bean bag in my house that sits by the windows and it's a beautiful view out there. And that is where I have my coffee every morning and read my word and just have time with the Lord and hope. I try to journal because I'm learning how important, and I think that's where a lot of my growth has come from is beginning to journal and write these things and then reflect on them and listen to the Lord and all that. But I was sharing with her that I went through a season of where I could not, it's like I could not read the word of God. It was like, I don't know if it's the ADHD. I hate labels, but I'm just going to say, so people,
Yeah, I know
like
what
that
you mean.
ADHD or ADD thing, or I mean, literally, I would even sit down, I'd have my Bible, I don't know, I'd start looking through my doom scrolling, or I'd be sidetracked by something, or a million reasons. Like just a dry season of like, I wasn't sitting with the word. And then like, I started recently again. And like, every time I start again, it's like, why would you not do what? Like, I don't understand what keeps you from that or why, because it transforms you. It,
Yes.
it sets the tone for your day. It sets the tone for your heart. It changes everything. But yet there are times that it's, I don't know what that is. And I'm sure maybe we all experience it, but I'm just grateful right this moment that I am in a season of sitting at his feet and doing my morning coffee with him and it just changes everything. and I don't know, maybe somebody needed to hear that today, but
No, it doesn't. I know exactly what you mean because I also, I went from every single morning, that was my jam. Like I'd wake up every morning and it was still dark out and I would spend my moments with God. And then that changed, especially after I was diagnosed and I had surgery and life just looked so different all of a sudden. And I craved it and I missed it, but I couldn't get myself there. Very hard to explain why. Can't really put words to it, but it does make a huge difference. Maybe you don't start your day off that way. Maybe you end your day or sometime during the day. But I think taking a moment in your day to be present with him and be intentional. I think that's the most important part. It's the being intentional, quieting your soul. And that was what I had in the mornings. And I did miss it. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be right where I am now.
Awesome. Well, Veronica, thank you so much. Before we go, do you have anything else? It could be about anything at all that you want to share, whether it's about your purpose or something that you just feel to share with anyone listening.
Well, to be honest, I would just say that I'm grateful for you and women like you in my life, and that you have been such an encouragement to me. And I love that you're even younger than me. Like I love that God uses, because we always think, older, wiser, whatever, but not necessarily. Sometimes God just sends a beautiful gift in those relationships. And if I would just say, if somebody's stumbling upon this for the first time or whatever, that they really go and seek what you have shared, your heart, your journey, so many things. And I know that there are treasures and blessings in that, in everything that you've shared and your vulnerability and your encouragement and stuff like that. So I just want to thank you and encourage others to seek your book and your website and all those things. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
someday mine. Hopefully someday I'll be
Yes,
right
I'll
there
be the
beside
first to
you.
promote it. And then when you do, you come on here and you share about it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Definitely worth it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you will come on again now that you're going to start dipping your toes in
Yes.
more of this world a little bit.
Yes.
And we will see you all next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Destiny Awaits. I hope the insights shared today have resonated with you and inspired you to take meaningful steps towards your destiny. Remember, your life is a journey. Embrace the challenges, celebrate the victories, and stay committed to living a life that reflects the image and likeness of God. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Destiny Awaits on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube and leave a review. Your feedback fuels our mission to empower and encourage others like you on their path to living their best life. Until next time, keep shining bright and living your destiny. This is Andrea signing off from Destiny Awaits. Take care and remember, your destiny awaits.